fathers and mothers. Today I'd like to talk about family relationships and what Thakur taught us about family relationships. So first of all, I'll offer my pranam to Thakur. So first of all, Thakur, when he was born, so the house he was born in, it was struck on fire. It was not literally on fire, but it was like there's like this flashing light, and all of the neighbors and the people around the village were like, "Why is his house like on fire and everything?" So then they ran over there and they found out this sparkling little shine around this little baby boy, who, unlike other babies who normally cry after birth, he was all smiling and he was like, "Hi," something like that, you know. But that's unusual because babies, when they come out of the mother's womb, they don't normally be happy, they don't laugh, but this one was laughing, so they were all kind of confused. Something strange there was something strange about him, something different. So eventually, as he grew up, he started becoming more wise, and he taught everyone life, like things that they need to know in life, and how to live a good life, how to live a holy life. And that's when people started realizing that he's very divine, which he really is. He's one of our prophets who came to rescue us from our sins. So one of the things Thakur said, so I'm a young boy, 14 years of age. So from my perspective, I'm just going to say what Thakur taught me and other boys just like me. He said, "Shikukenai ishtapran ge jagabe chatupran," and that means that ishtotan. So that means that if the teachers of the young boys and girls of the people, if the teachers do not live holy lives, they do not have good moral principles, then who will teach the little kids of how to have these moral principles and things like that? And so basically what that means is, if you have children, you might teach them like academics, things like that, how good maths, English, science. You might tell them, okay, so on your report card you must get A's. If you don't know what that is, so basically here at school in Australia, A's are like the highest sort of grading. They're like, yeah, anyways. So for the subjects you might tell them to get A's, but this only covers their academic learning. This doesn't cover their holy learning, what they need to learn about for their spirituality to increase. In other words, their moral and ethical principles. For example, you might be really smart and talented, and you might have the best job in the world. You might even be the president But if you step on an ant willingly and kill it, you are not a good person. You might be the president, but if you do that, you're not a good person because you just killed a life for no reason. And that covers your moral principles, your ethical life. And that means that if you're not a good person in general, then you can never be successful. And ultimately what that means is you can't reach heaven. So I'm sure all of you believe in heaven and hell and things like that. So to reach heaven, you have to have a good morality and think divine, and obviously follow a guru, a god. And for this instance, it's Sree Sree Thakur Anukul Chandra. Now, Sree Sree Thakur Anukul Chandra did mention, and the Gita, and every one of you know this, it's been read to you so many times, Jada Jada hi dharmasho glani bhovati bharato butthanam dharmasho tadatanam srijamaham. And Jada Jada hi dharmasho glani paritranam sadhanam vinashacha duskritam dharmashamsa punatha sambhavami juge juge. Everyone has heard that, I know. You're all familiar with that. And basically what those mean is, so as a god, he comes back time after time, and as in a different human body form in the material world. And so he came as Krishna, he came as Ram, he came as Jesus Christ, he came as Thakur, he came as Ram Krishna Parameshwar. But they're all the same, they're all God. And God is one, but is first, and one, but second to none. And the thing is, no matter which one you follow, all of them will pretty much have the same teachings. All of them will tell you how to live a good divine life and how to do it so successfully that He will accept you into His kingdom of heaven. Which is why I shall give you examples of many prophets' sayings. So, Jesus Christ, I'm sure all of you are familiar with Him. He's very common to be talked about as well. In one of the Gospels, it mentions from Matthew, I think. Was it Dad? Was it Matthew? Yes. So Matthew is one of his Gospels, and Matthew mentioned that riches and God, money and God. So what that means is you can chase one, you can love one, but you can't love the other. You can't love God and money at the same time. You can only love one and hate the other. And so that means if you in your life chase after money, if you just want to be rich and you want to show off in front of everyone else, then you can't love God and you're not living a divine life. This is the evil path. This is the path of greed. And greed is very bad. You cannot have that in your personality trait. But if you chase after God, then that means you are living a moral and ethical divine life, which is what we all should be living. This is what humans need to learn, because many humans do not know this. It's that the whole point of life, think of life as a test. It's a test. God gives you this life because He wants to see if you believe in Him, if you give Him what He deserves, because He is your ultimate Father. You might have a mother and father in this life, but He's your ultimate Father. He's the one you want to reach after this life. Because after this life, maybe if there is such a thing as next life, you maybe won't have the same parents, the same soul. So He is the ultimate Father that stays with you forever. Anyways, so as I was saying, the thing is, if you go after riches, then you might be rich, you might live a good life in the material world, but remember, everyone does have to die. As sad as that sounds, everyone does have to die. You can't live forever. After you die, where does all your money go? See? So it's better off chasing God, right? Because then you can have a good afterlife. But the thing is, many people might not believe in God because He's not here, He's not with us. But that is incorrect, because just like my dad, a Ritik, Thakur said that Ritiks carry me on their backs, and that means that basically, like my dad is doing right now, he's carrying the message of Thakur to all of you. He is conducting satshangs with everyone and his members and everyone, so that everyone can have the message, and this is considered as jajan. So we are carrying the message to everyone so that everyone can live a holy life, because that is the ultimate goal. Okay, it's to be holy. Okay? So you have to have a good afterlife. You can't just live this life forever thinking you will stay like that way. One last thing, Buddha. So everyone knows Pujanya Buddha. He is Thakur's first son, and so of course he is also a very holy person now. Thakur and Buddha, Anukul, Chandra and Buddha, they, being father and son, they have a relationship, right? So what does a father do to the son? They teach them, they are obliged to teach them exactly how to live this life. Now, as I mentioned before, Thakur did mention that the teachers, the gurus, have to live an ethical and moral life where their moral principles are intact for them to be divine, their souls to be divine, right? Now, because Thakur was like that, Buddha was the exact same. Everyone knows him because of how talented and holy his life is. But he wouldn't be like that if it wasn't for his father, right? So, children are like the reflection of their parents. So whatever the parents do, the children will do as well. If the parents just chase after 4-story houses and BMWs and things like that, but not live a holy life in which they teach them God, then the children will do the same. They won't look after God. They won't catch God, and they won't want to live a holy life, because then they'll be, oh, well, my parents didn't follow God, so why should I? So it is important that the elders as teachers, I'm not one of them just yet, but the elders as teachers, which is all of you, to live such a holy life that your children can as well. Thank you.